each Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m. Let their decades of experience help you and your family. Offices in Clearwater, non-attorney spokesman.
Initialize sequence.
Hi, this is Pam Tillis.
Hi, I'm Gina Lee Nolan.
Hey everyone, I'm Cassie Skirbo.
Hey, what up, you guys? It's your girl, Vivica Fox.
I'm Kathleen Gatty from General Hospital.
Hello, I'm Butch Patrick.
Don Snyder.
Hey, this is Jason Thompson from The Young and the Restless.
Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle.
Hey, this is Fran Cap with the Guinness Book of World Records fastest talking woman.
Get connected on Hollywood Connections, sponsored by SunkissCharters.com, every Thursday from 8 to 9 p.m. right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hey, did you know there's a live psychology talk show Friday at noon where you can call in and get free guidance and also learn several different topics relating to ending the stigma on mental health? It's called Moments of Clarity on WTAN 1340 AM. It's with licensed therapist Tiffany Warner, who will try to end the stigma on mental health. But the only way you can do that is to listen to Moments of Clarity Friday at noon on WTAN 1340 AM, the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hi, this is Lizette LaForge of Beacon Windows. Are you tired of struggling with your sliders? Don't replace, refurbish. We keep you on track. Our business is on a roll. And I don't care what your problem is, I can get a handle on it. Not only do we make your sliders work nearly like new, but we also specialize in water intrusion when there's water sneaking underneath the track and maybe going to your neighbor below, or maybe you're being leaked on. So when you get a chance to give us a call us at 727-493-2644. Keep us in mind whenever your sliders are giving you any trouble. Beacon Windows, 727-493-2644 or www.sliderrepair.com. Don't replace, refurbish. Sliderrepair.com, 727-493-2644. Beacon Windows.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Here they come again. Catch us if you can. Time to get a move on. We were young with all of our might. Catch us if you can. 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 Now we gotta run. No more time for fun. When we're getting angry, we were young with all of our might. Catch us if you can. Catch us if you can. Catch us if you can. Catch us if you can.
Oh yeah. I think that's the first time we have played the Dave Clark 5 on Freedom Works. It's one of those British bands that came out right around the Beatles. The Dave Clark 5. Catch us if you can. Ed played it because he's got some sort of a tie-in with the Donald Trump indictment. I guess it's because the Trumpster is running all over the country. You know, catch me if you can, right? All right. Well, good morning. Welcome to Freedom Works, the Paul Molloy Show. Try and catch us if you can, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I am Paul Molloy, along with Big Ed. Hey, thanks for being here with us. It's Wednesday, April the 5th already, and we got a good show. We're going to be talking in a few minutes with Zach Smith, he of the Heritage Foundation, and we're going to chat about the Donald Trump indictment. What a surprise. Everybody in the world is, I'm starting to think everybody in the world is talking about the Donald Trump indictment. And we'll get his take on whether there's any merit to it, or is this just another political hack job, right? So stay tuned for that. And here's something that's probably more important. Social Security may run out sooner than you think. We're going to take a look at its long-term, or should we say short-term prospects. So stay tuned for that as well. And in our latest edition of Campus Quackery, we will dust off our Wilbur the Duck and travel to Columbia University and a get-together with a Supreme Court justice a little later in the show. And in our Ultimate Top 10, we have a good one. Here we go, the top 10 unhealthiest cities in the U.S. Let's see if any of us live there, okay? That'll be towards the end of the show. All right. Well, lots going on. Needless to say, you can't avoid the Donald Trump indictment. I guess in the long run, all the Democrats are so excited. You know, it's wall-to-wall Donald Trump again. I imagine CNN and MSNBC and their cellar-dwelling ratings are taking a bit of a jump, you know, because people now are tuning into them again, because that's all they're going to do is, you know, bring on one guest after another that'll tell you why Donald Trump is the worst human being on the planet. So, you know, you can't get away from that. Anyway, so Trump didn't say a word, Ed, while he was in New York.
No.
And before the show, you and I were chatting a little bit about the cost of transporting the Donald back and forth for these things. I mean, he spent, a couple of minutes inside of the courtroom?
If that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that. It was quick. But they were saying how, you know, when a former president comes to town or a president comes to town, the roads are shut down leading to where he's going to. In New York, that's costly. Now, you shut down the FDR, which is a main artery.
Delano Roosevelt. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That could cause some problems and it costs a lot of money. And the police force, remember, because they were expecting all these crazy people, crazy Trump fans, they were expecting riots and all this stuff. You know, the mayor came out and said, behave yourself. You know, the criminals are okay, but you Trump people, behave yourself.
Yes.
You know, so
yeah, and stay out of the way stay out of the way of all of the store break-ins, you Trump supporters. All right, leave them alone.
As far as MSNBC and Communist News Network, they were happy but not giddy, because I don't think they got everything they wanted. They wanted handcuffs and they wanted a mugshot. They didn't get it.
No, you're right. They didn't.
So they were happy. Richard Madow was on last night and was talking to.
Did you say Richard Madow?
It is Richard, isn't it?
Rachel?
Oh, looks more like Richard to me. So anyway, Richard Madow was on last night, and of course,
Richard, okay,
you know, smiling ear to ear, but you know, I'm looking around social media last night, and people have had enough. We always talk. This had better be a slam dunk. And it was not a slam dunk, because part of it was left out, and your guest is going to talk about it. About, you know, it was supposed to lead to another crime, which was not divulged.
They didn't seem to have one to talk about. That's a big part of it. But people are saying, you know, when is enough enough? I mean, did this guy, when he was in office, I mean, why is he hated so much? When he was in office, did he do something to disgust people, like embarrass us or embarrass the nation? No. Did he put us on the brink of nuclear war? No, that's today. Did he ruin the economy? No, that's today. So obviously, what it is, he was so good for this country. Those people don't want him back in there again. That's the problem. It's not these false, he's a racist, he treats women bad. That's got nothing to do with it. They don't want him back in there because he was good for the country, and they're afraid of that. Yeah, it's the most unbelievable, uncanny philosophy towards a person that I have ever experienced. And also because they might not like his personal, whatever you want to call it, failings, or his personal peccadillos, whatever the word is.
Tweeting.
And his jumping down the throat of people he doesn't like and saying things about them, and his honest response about how he feels about the media and all that kind of thing. They seem to look past his accomplishments because they just don't like the man.
Well, one of the things,
you know what I mean?
One of the things he accomplished they don't like is that he showed us where the corruption is.
He's willing to point it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely right. So Trump slammed the DA, Alvin Bragg, when he got back to Mar-a-Lago, Florida yesterday. He had a little bit of a hoedown. He kept his mouth shut while he was in New York. He pled not guilty to falsifying business records related to the alleged hush money payments made ahead of the presidential campaign that he ran in 2016. He was arraigned, of course, in Manhattan, 34 counts, but don't go by 34 counts. It's like there aren't really 34 counts. I was reading that if for some reason they found him guilty on all these alleged accounts, that he could end up serving something like 25 years in prison. He's not going to spend a day in prison. For those of you that are hoping he's going to spend any time in prison, you can forget it. He's not going to spend any time in prison.
Those people that are in New York, and particularly the criminals, or people in New York as a whole, if your bookkeeping is not up to par, Mr. Bragg is going to come get you.
Yeah, right.
Now, you can rob, steal, and rape, but if your bookkeeping is not up to snuff...
And you're a Republican.
We're going to get you.
Right. I mean, if your bookkeeping is not up to snuff and you're a liberal, you might not have to worry.
What's his record since he's been in for dumbing down a charge from felony to misdemeanor? Isn't it
Most
like 51%?
At least half the time, yeah. Yeah. While the city is in havoc, they're going after a guy in Florida for making a payoff to a girlfriend or two. Now, tell me that this is really where our priorities lie these days.
Criminals got the day off yesterday in New York.
I'll tell you what, they get the day off a lot in these big cities. And that's something we're going to talk about a little bit later, too. But the judge did not impose a gag order on Trump. I think that he's thinking it over, but it would be very hard to do that. I don't think they can get away with that one. And like you said, I don't think, did they take a mugshot?
No.
Even if it was in private?
I believe there was no mugshot.
I don't think there was a mugshot taken.
I mean, because it would already been displayed.
I would have thought so.
Yeah, the Dems would have had it on their keychains and screensavers.
Well, anyway, let's do this because we're going to bring our friend Zach Smith in from the Heritage Foundation, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this whole indictment. Let us take our break. You're listening to Freedom Works, and we will be back.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Listen to the latest pet trends with benefits on the Pet Buzz every Saturday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. Join pet trendologist Charlotte Reed and veterinarian Dr. Michael Fleck as they talk all things pets. From animal health and wellness, money-saving tips, celebrity gossip, breaking news, and more. Their expert guests are in the know and in the now. To learn more about this unique program and its hosts, tune into the show on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Caregivers find the support they need on Connecting Caregivers Radio with Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregiver. Heard every Friday from 1 to 2 p.m., Linda and her caring and knowledgeable guests will bring you education, information, and resources, as well as a shoulder for caregivers. That's Connecting Caregivers Radio with Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregiver, where you can find help and hope every Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network. Ain't it good?
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
We are back on a Wednesday, Freedom Works. Delighted to have Zach Smith join us. Zach is a legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation's Meese Center for Judicial Studies. We're going to talk with Zach a little bit about this, what I think he might call politically ambitious District Attorney Alvin Bragg and the Trump indictment. Zach, welcome to Freedom Works.
Well, thanks so much for having me on today. I really appreciate it.
You know, everybody and their brother is talking about this Trump indictment all over the world. So I would suspect those that hate Trump and the Democrats pretty giddy about this whole thing, because as long as they can talk about Trump and his troubles, we're not going to go look at the man behind the curtain, are we? President Biden and what's going on over there. So Heritage Foundation writes that the lack of surprise at this indictment is not because Trump is necessarily guilty of any crime, because he is the target of a politically ambitious DA in Manhattan, this guy Alvin Bragg. So is this strictly a political hit job, do you think, Zach?
Well, look, we haven't seen all of the evidence that Alvin Bragg has mustered, but based on the indictment that was publicly released yesterday and the statement of facts that accompanied it, I think many people were less than impressed with this indictment. I think it points to a real problem for Alvin Bragg's case, again, based on what we publicly know, when even, liberal bastions like the Washington Post, the New York Times, and Fox Media are all writing articles essentially questioning whether he can, in fact, prove these charges. And I think there are two things to note here. One is the theory that Alvin Bragg appears to be pursuing. It's very novel. It's very complex. It's a legally questionable theory. He's essentially trying to elevate a couple of minor bookkeeping-related misdemeanor-level offenses that would typically happen in New York law, elevate those into low-level felonies by saying that Donald Trump or someone acting on his behalf committed them with the intent to cover up another crime, which in this case would presumably be a federal campaign finance violation. Now, it's odd that a state prosecutor would predicate one of his charges on a federal offense, and it's even odder when you consider that federal authorities, the U.S. Department of Justice, the Federal Election Commission, have decided not to pursue campaign finance charges against Donald Trump based on these same facts. Now, the second thing we're quickly considering is in proving these charges, in addition to the legal hurdles, Alvin Bragg is likely to face practical problems. One of his star witnesses is apparently Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's former lawyer, former fixer, who himself is now a convicted felon, who himself has admitted to having a loose relationship with the truth when it suited him. And so from top to bottom, this is just an extremely odd and seems like an extremely difficult case for Alvin Bragg to prove.
Yeah, there's really a rogues gallery of witnesses that they might bring in. Not only his former attorney, but how about, Stormy Daniels and maybe even Michael Avenatti? And, I don't know, it seems like a real circus of the witnesses themselves seem almost worse than the guy that they're going after. But, let's start with his lawyer. Now, let's just say that Donald Trump, he has an affair with somebody and he's running for president and he doesn't want that to come out. I mean, there's a lot of politicians that have done exactly the same thing, correct? And so they go to the girlfriend or the former lover or whatever, and they give her some money and say don't say anything. I'm going to run for president. Is that in and of itself, is that a crime?
Well, the federal authorities in this case certainly didn't think so. And look, I think it's important to keep in mind Donald Trump has denied that he had an affair with Stormy Daniels. And Jonathan Edwards, back in 2004, was in fact prosecuted by federal prosecutors for essentially the same conduct. You may remember he had a child with a mistress. He paid her hush money to keep her quiet, and he was ultimately acquitted of those charges. A jury didn't convict him. And so, again, I think, this just strikes many people as an odd prosecution. And the other point I'll quickly make, Paul, is, Alvin Bragg, he's part of a national rogue prosecutor movement that's being backed by George Soros and other individuals. In fact, my colleague, Kelly Simpson, and I, we have a book coming out on June 27th called Rogue Prosecutors, How Radical Soros Lawyers Are Destroying America's Communities, where we talk about this movement. We actually have an entire chapter devoted to Alvin Bragg, talking about his background, his policies, and their devastating consequences. But he came into office promising not to prosecute most misdemeanors, not to seek jail time for many offenses, not to prosecute many felony offenses even. And so given his general stance on prosecuting crimes, his pledge not to prosecute many offenses, and compare that to the charges in this case, I think it strikes many people as being extremely hypocritical.
Well,
to put it kindly.
Absolutely agree with you. So you are coming up with a book, Rogue Prosecutors, late June. That will be interesting. And this guy, now, George Soros didn't directly fund Alvin Bragg's campaign, but he funded an organization that made payments to Alvin Bragg. Isn't that the way it was? Sort of an indirect funding.
Well, Kind of, Paul. They made independent expenditures on Bragg's behalf, essentially. But this is one of the things we talk about in the book because, recently George Soros, other proponents of this movement, they started saying, well, we didn't really back him. We didn't really fund him. The way this money is dispersed to candidates is very opaque. It's likely intentionally so. It's very difficult to trace. But to say Alvin Bragg and other of these prosecutors are Soros-backed or Soros-supported, that is well documented and well supported by many, many facts.
We're talking with Zach Smith. He is a legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation's Meese Center for Judicial Studies, coming out with a book called Rogue Prosecutors. We're going to keep our eye out for that in late June. And we're talking about the Trump indictment. This is so... some people are saying, well, in the long run, there's going to be so much sympathy for Donald Trump because of this, that it's actually going to help his presidential campaign. I'm not so sure that when you have something like this hanging over you, and it sounds like Democrats or maybe Bragg or whatever want to stretch this whole thing out so that it will cover the presidential campaign itself. They're not even going to bring him back into court again until what, December?
Right. Look, Paul, I've given up trying to predict the future, political prognostication. But I think what is clear, going back to what you said at the top of the segment, is Alvin Bragg, for all of his flaws, he's not stupid. He's politically ambitious. And he realizes that by indicting Donald Trump overnight, he has become a national household name. His star among those on the left, particularly the radical left, has shot through the roof. And so for Alvin Bragg, at least, there seems to be political advantage to bringing this indictment. And if you check out our book, you can actually pre-order it now on Amazon.com. We talk about Bragg, his background, and some of the motivating factors that might be driving him in many of his terrible policy decisions.
I heard that at one point he was not planning on prosecuting Trump, but because he had made a kind of a campaign promise, was it, to go after Donald Trump? They didn't want him to, they did not want him to renege on it, and he got some pressure. If you don't go ahead and do what you said you're going to do, we're going to take off, or something like that.
Well, he made a campaign pledge not to pursue an investigation into Donald Trump, essentially. You're right. He initially declined to pursue it. And I think this is where part of the trial, if this actually goes to trial, will get very messy. Some of the top prosecutors in his office who had been working on this case, that they left, one actually wrote a book about it. And why he thought the decision not to go after Donald Trump was wrong. And so I expect if this case actually goes to trial, a lot of excerpts from that book may come into evidence. Those former prosecutors, may be called to give certain testimony. We are a long way from finished with this case, Paul.
Oh, absolutely.
I think we're just
what do you think
starting to hear about it.
What do you think the chances are that at some point it's going to just be like tossed out of court? Or is there really very little chance because this particular judge, if he stays the judge in this thing, is just not...
Well, I think Donald...
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Donald... I was just going to say, I think Donald Trump's attorneys are certainly going to ask for that. They may ask for the case to be tossed as a selective prosecution. Those motions are typically not successful. They're very hard to win. But I suspect Donald Trump's attorneys will make a motion like that. The other motion, which I think may be more of a focus, is whether or not Donald Trump can, in fact, get a fair trial in Lower Manhattan. His attorneys, I suspect, will ask to move the case to another part of the state of New York. I suspect Alvin Bragg's attorneys will likely fight that motion. But that is where I suspect a lot of the litigation, a lot of the focus will be on whether or not to keep this case in Lower Manhattan or to transfer it somewhere else within the state of New York.
What exactly is the charge? It's so nebulous. It's kind of vague, isn't it? What is he? Is he charged with a cover-up? Is that it? A cover-up of payoff? Or what exactly?
So the technical charges, and there are 34 of them, it's essentially the same charge, copied and pasted 34 different times, is that he falsified business records. And the idea is that's typically a misdemeanor under New York law, but the exact charge is he falsified the business records, and he did it with the intent to cover up another crime. That's what Alvin Bragg is saying.
And what is the other crime?
That's where things get really nebulous, really opaque. That other crime is not specified in the indictment itself. Now, Alvin Bragg says he doesn't have to. I think best practice would certainly be to specify the other crime. But based on a statement of facts that was released along with the indictment, based on a press conference Alvin Bragg gave after the arraignment yesterday, it looks like the other crime Alvin Bragg is saying is, at least in part, this federal campaign finance violation that he says Donald Trump is alleged to have committed.
Wow. And we're going to spend all kinds of money and time on this. I mean, you could go after almost every politician in Washington that's done something like this. I mean, you'd have them lined up against the wall. We'd be so many of them. I don't know. It just seems like it's an obvious hit job on this guy because he's running for president. If he had not decided to run again for president, I wonder if Alvin Bragg would have go through all of this.
It's hard to say. I certainly think we are in the current state. Donald Trump is running for president again. And keep in mind, Paul, there are two other investigations going on. There's the federal special counsel investigation being headed up by Jack Smith. We know he's currently subpoenaing witnesses. He subpoenaed Donald Trump's Secret Service agents, some of them to come testify later this week or early next week in front of a grand jury. There's also the investigation out of Georgia being run by the Democratic Fulton County District Attorney in Atlanta, Fannie Willis, related to some of the happenings after the 2020 election. And so, Donald Trump could potentially be facing other indictments as well. And we'll just have to wait to see how all of this plays out in the lead up to the election.
I tell you what. I wonder if this dissipates a little bit between now and, say, the end of the year, or is this going to be like front page news? I mean, there's, and they've also, they got those boxes of classified documents. I don't know. If I was Donald Trump, I'd say, you know what? I think I'm just going to forget it. There's just so much going on here. But he seems to be a fighter. So once again, you have a book coming out. Let's plug it again. It's Rogue Prosecutors.
Yep, it's called Rogue Prosecutors, How Radical Soros Lawyers Are Destroying America's Communities. We talk about the background of the movement, the funding, and then we highlight 8 of the worst rogue prosecutors around the country. You can pre-order it now on Amazon.com or on BarnesandNoble.com, and it'll be out officially on June 27th.
June 27th. All right, Zach. Well, thank you so very much for coming on board, talking with us. And I look forward to talking with you again, my friend.
Thanks so much, Paul. Appreciate you having me on.
Of course. All right. Zach Smith, Heritage Foundation. Let us take our break. And when we come back, Social Security. A lot of us are taking payments. It may run out sooner than you think. We're going to take a look at the long-term and the short-term prospects.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hello there, Tampa Bay. This is former NFL and college football coach Jimmy Johnson. Listen to the Kelly Show every Monday starting at 5 p.m. They can sure use the attention.
And this is former Major League Baseball player, Hall of Famer Wade Boggs. I also hope you listen to the Kelly Show every Monday starting at 5 p.m. They can darn sure use the money.
Hi there. This is marine wildlife artist and conservationist Dr. Guy Harvey. Please listen to the Kelly Show every Monday starting at 5 p.m. They need to feel worthy.
Do you have questions after being injured in a car accident or injured because of someone's negligence? Do you feel overwhelmed or uncertain about the next steps after being injured in a crash? The personal injury attorneys at Peronic, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes have been helping their injured clients since 1955 and are now on this radio station to provide guidance to you. Listen to FLA Law each Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m. Let their decades of experience help you and your family. Offices in Clearwater, non-attorney spokesman.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hey, we are back on a Wednesday. You know, there's other news going on besides Donald Trump and his indictment, and we were going to get to some of that. Did you know that they had a mayoral election in Chicago? Remember Lori Lightfoot? And she's gone. But do you know what they did? They ended up coming out with another progressive mayor. The Windy City decided on its new mayor yesterday after a tight race between two liberals, with a progressive Bernie Sanders endorsed Democrat taking the keys. Guy's name is Brandon Johnson. He's a black man, Cook County commissioner. He defeated his moderate opponent, former Chicago Public Schools CEO Paul Vallas. Paul Vallas was more pro-police. And I thought Vallas had a chance. I thought people in Chicago are finally coming, are waking up.
We keep thinking that about the people of New York, too.
It's not true.
And they keep electing.
They keep electing these kinds of far lefties. And this guy, at one time, wanted to defund the Chicago police. So is that what you want for a mayor? Now he claims he never really said he wanted to.
Oh, they never do.
Now he says he never really said that. But they got him on tape, that kind of thing. So Vallas, the guy that did not win, garnered the support of the Chicago Police Union and major business groups. Johnson, the winner, got the backing of the teachers union. That's another thing. The teachers union did not want the kids of Chicago to have the voucher programs so that they can choose the kind of schools they want to go to. So that's what's going on in Chicago, my old hometown area, and I feel very bad, kind of sad about that, but that's the way it goes. I don't think we're ever going to learn.
I was going to, talking about Alvin Bragg real quick, I was just wondering if he's so tight on crime in New York, why didn't he prosecute Andrew Cuomo for all the women that he sexually battered?
I don't know. Was he in power then?
I believe so.
He was, yeah. I don't know. So. I never had heard of him until, obviously, nobody had heard of him around the country until the Trump thing. But, yeah, that's a good question. They let that go, didn't they? Yeah. So Social Security. This is something that nobody wants to talk about. And if you dare bring up the fact that it's going broke and that you got to do something and you got to change the rules, it's like they never hear from you again. It's like you disappear. It's they call it the third rail if you try to do anything about Social Security. The Social Security program is expected to run dry within 10 years. Within 10 years. And the result is for a couple of reasons. One, you got a lot of baby boomers, like I am, that are drawing Social Security now. And that was a huge number of kids, a huge population group. And the second thing is the slower economic growth of our country. So therefore, there isn't as much money going into the coffers. So new findings from both the Social Security and the Medicare Trustees report show that the entitlement program faces insolvency as soon as 2033. That is now a year earlier than they previously projected, largely the result of a 3% downward revision of gross domestic product and labor productivity over the next 10 years. You know what? It might come even sooner. So something is going to have to be done if these payouts are going to continue at the rate that they are being paid out. So what are you going to do? Now, we have talked about this before, Ed. I think you remember my idea. I don't think anybody really wants to talk. If you're a politician, you dare not talk about it. But I think you have to wean people off Social Security. I don't think we need the federal government running our retirement programs. And I think that if you were to take up to a certain age group and give them back the money they put into Social Security, feed it back to them, allow them to take that money, do whatever they want with it. And then everybody over a certain age, I use the age 59, but whatever, they could figure that out. Everybody over a certain age continues to get Social Security for the rest of their life. But get the government out of it. They shouldn't be running it. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's always been a Ponzi scheme. The people coming later are the ones that are paying now, right? That's how the whole thing works. But once, you see, here's the deal with socialism. Once you start getting handouts, whether it's Social Security or welfare or Medicare, whatever you want to call it.
COVID payments.
Yeah, COVID payment. Once you start getting those things, you get real comfortable taking that money.
Yep.
And you don't want it to go away, right? It's human nature. You want to keep getting it. You've adjusted your lifestyle to taking that money in. So this is the deal with Social Security. So that's why nobody wants to talk about it. But one day, and you got to, if you wait until it's busted, it's too late.
Yeah.
You got to do something before it's busted, right? So, but you don't hear anybody, and that includes Donald Trump, talking about it. They don't want to bring it up. Nobody will. Rand Paul will talk about it, and there's a few that will talk about it once in a while. But very, very rarely does anybody that's running for anything want to bring it up. They want to push it aside, both Republicans and Democrats. But we're getting closer to this thing going belly up. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, who, by the way, leads the Social Security and Medicare trustees, has emphasized the need to bolster both the Medicare and Social Security funds, and she talked about it last week. She said Social Security and Medicare are two bedrock programs that older Americans rely on for their retirement. She says the Biden-Harris administration is committed to ensuring the long-term viability of these critical programs so that retirees can receive the hard-earned benefit. They're not committed to anything. They're committed to just allowing it to continue the way it is. That's what they're committed to. They don't have any solution, though. So there you go. Hey, did you know that Finland has joined NATO?
Yes.
Finland, yeah. See, these are things that we didn't know because we're all focusing on Donald Trump. In the meantime, Finland joined NATO. They joined them yesterday. It's a major blow to Russia and Vladimir Putin. Finland's right on the border there, with Russia. So here's one more country that's joining up with NATO. This doubles Russia's border. It says the Nordic country Finland's membership doubles Russia's border with the world's biggest security alliance. Finland had adopted neutrality after World War II, but its leaders signaled they wanted to join NATO after Moscow's invasion of Ukraine sent a shiver of fear through its neighbors. So here we go.
Well, if they're in, then they need to pay their share too.
Oh, sure, all of them.
Now,
that was one thing about
not a free ride.
Trump wanted Germany and all these countries start paying their fair share, and he was right. He was right. I don't hear Biden saying a word about it. Of course, I don't hear Biden saying anything. So there you go. I think I'll save our campus quackery for the final segment, but I do want to talk about the ADP private sector job growth numbers for March. They have come out. It says here hiring by U.S. companies has slowed more than expected in March, pointing to a labor market that is starting to cool in the face of higher interest rates, according to ADP and their national employment report, which comes out every month. ADP says companies added about 145,000 jobs in March, missing the 200,000 job gain that economists that had been surveyed predicted. So it also marked a major decline from the upwardly revised February numbers of 261,000. So it's coming down. So, the numbers are not good. We got high interest rates. We got high cost of products. We got high gasoline costs. I still see that the shelves are not filling up.
No. Speaking of gasoline.
Yeah.
We're about to go up again.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you saw you remember when Biden was touring the Middle East and happened to stop by the Saudis? And
Yeah, he gave a fist bump.
A fist bump.
Yeah, that's all he got.
Said,
Was a fist bump.
Can you keep production up until after election? We can use some oil. Anyway, they've decided to cut back.
Yes.
And they're teaming with Iran. Isn't that nice?
Oh, it's wonderful. I mean, we got all of this nonsense going on. Everything is backfiring under the Biden administration. Everything is going wrong.
You got Putin and his crap. You got North Korea. That fat little guy keeps.
You never know what he's going to do.
Lofting missiles all the time.
Yeah, he wants attention, too.
This is a guy that could sneak up on you.
Oh, there's no question about it.
China with their...
China and Russia are spending all kinds of time together.
You got Iran and the Saudis hooking up. That's great. That is great.
We have... And, we forget about Iran and how close they are to developing and being able to functionally use a nuclear weapon. Yep. And I can't think of a crazier group of people than those mullahs over there in Iran. And if they got their hands on a functioning nuclear weapon...
Well, I'd hate to be in Israel.
I think it's Israel that's going to make sure Iran doesn't set one off, if you want to know the truth. I think Israel is the one that will do it.
That would be like...
Netanyahu
Cuba, that would, for us, would be like us having to deal with Cuba getting nuclear weapons.
Correct. That is correct. Except I think this guy's even crazier.
But crazy would call them crazy.
Yeah. So there you go. All right. Let's take our break, our final break. When we come back, we got Columbia University. We got our sights set on Columbia University and campus quackery.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Are you a writer, inventor? Do you have questions about your intellectual property rights? Well, tune in every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 11 o'clock for Joy on Paper. Once a month, I will have a special guest, the writer's legal eagle, Bill Larson of Larson & Larson, who can answer your questions. Protect your valuable work. Email me your questions to patsy.radio@gmail.com and then listen in every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. right here on Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio Network. That's patsy.radio@gmail.com.
Hey, you new to the area or just want to know about the best hidden gems and upcoming events? Stay tuned. Be Local Buzz with Devin takes you to these places, introduces you to the best businesses, and tells you about upcoming buzz. Preset your radio to Tan Talk 1340 AM or 106.1 FM every Thursday from 4 to 5. That is the Be Local Buzz with Devin on Tan Talk 1340 AM and 106 FM every Thursday from 4 to 5. Looking forward to speaking with you.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hey, we are back on a Wednesday, Freedom Works. And by the way, we are here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on the great Tan Talk Radio Network. We're so glad you are joining us. If you can't listen to us live, thanks to Big Ed, you can listen to us anytime you'd like. Just go to our website, ourfreedomworks.com. ourfreedomworks.com. Click on the podcast button at the top. Ed's got all the shows there for you. Most recent show at the top, and you'll see the guest, and you'll see the top 10, the whole bit. Turn it on, listen at your leisure, turn it off, take a little break, come back, listen to the rest. Whatever you want to do, ourfreedomworks.com. All right. Hey, Ed, do you know who the world's richest person is right now? I bet you don't. I didn't until I found the story.
No.
A guy in France.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You know how much he's worth? He's worth over $200 billion.
That's a lot of money.
It's more than you and I have together. The fortune of this guy's name is Bernard Arnault.
Oh, Bernie.
Yeah,
Bernie.
You remember Bernie, don't you? He's now the world's richest person, topping $200 billion for the first time. He's got French, they call it LVMH luxury good, a French luxury goods empire.
Must be a lot of it.
Must be.
Huh.
He's 74 years old. He's become only the third person in history to touch 200 billion.
Yeah,
get past it.
I bet them Walmart people would be pretty rich if they didn't have to split it up. With
That's
somebody,
right.
There's
a whole bunch of family members.
It was just one wall guy,
That's true.
One Mart.
Good old Sam Walton. Yeah. All of his descendants are dividing the spoils, but they're all pretty wealthy anyway. Yeah. I don't think we have to worry about that.
Not in line for day-old bread anytime soon?
I don't think so. The only other two people that have gone over the 200 billion mark, by the way, are Elon Musk and Amazon's Jeff Bezos. Okay. I don't think that our buddy at Microsoft, Bill Gates, ever got over $200 billion.
Really?
I guess not. Arnaud's fortune has increased by $2.4 billion, according to an updated Bloomberg Millionaires Index, as his shares in his company have risen 30%, thanks to soaring demand for luxury goods among the world's wealthy. So that's the reason. Let's see here. He is chairman and chief executive of the company. It owns Louis Vuitton, Christian Dior, and Moet and Chandon Champagne. So what the rich drink and wear and all of that kind of thing. He founded the group 35 years ago, the luxury goods group, and he is their majority shareholder. I thought you'd be interested in that. Okay. It is time for another edition of Campus Quackery. And we're going to Columbia University, and it has to do with the Supreme Court judge as well. After a group of Columbia Law School students took a photo with Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh in Washington, D.C., at least 9 progressive student groups on campus condemned the event and called on other students to protest. Can you believe that? Exactly. The students meeting of the law school's Federalist Society were the ones that got together with Brett Kavanaugh. It's a conservative legal group on campus. And says here, on February 23rd, members of the Columbia Federalist Society visited Brett Kavanaugh to engage in a conversation. During the visit, they learned about the human side of being a justice, the court's deliberation process, and how to be an effective advocate. So the post about all of that met with a fiery response from a multitude of leftist students at Columbia, which is, by the way, one of the most prestigious law schools in the country. You would think that a law school like Columbia University would be delighted to have some of its students meeting with the Supreme Court justice, but you would be wrong.
When I went to school, we didn't like something, we just didn't go.
Yeah. There you go.
Now listen,
you don't have to condemn the people that wanted to go.
I mean, if Hitler showed up at our school, that'd be a different story.
I would go and listen to him.
I wouldn't. I mean,
I know what you mean.
Or whatever disgusting human being, if it was somebody that bad, but because of his views are not the same as yours, and yours are right and his are wrong.
And on campus these days, it's shut them down.
Isn't that what America is?
Of course,
we're allowed to have our own views.
And it used
opinions?
to be that the campuses were hallmarks of freedom, where you can have people like that show up and talk.
These people are just stuck on stupid.
Oh, they really are. No question about it. All right. Before we get to our top 10, we have a good one, by the way, the unhealthiest cities in the U.S.
Before you get to your top 10, you usually hit a little sports.
Exactly. That's
and we have to do it today. You know why?
Why?
You ready?
Yeah. Why?
Hold on to the desk in there.
All right. I'm holding on.
The only undefeated team in baseball is the Tampa Bay Rays.
Really?
5-0.
God love them.
And a 2-game lead over the Yankees.
Man, what's going on? Why?
Now they're not playing.
They're hitting.
They're hitting, but they're not playing really great teams. But still, I mean, sweeping a team to start with, and today I believe it's a 12 o'clock or 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock game against Washington. So
now I know they started they opened with Detroit, right?
At home. Yes,
they won all those games.
Won all those games, swept them 3 there.
Okay,
they won 2 up in Washington right now.
Okay. Okay.
Third one is today. So
You think Detroit and Washington just might be lousy?
And by
but
the
even
way,
then, even if they're lousy, 5-0 is great.
We've got to be the Trump of baseball because there was no mention of it last night on any of the sports channels that the Rays were the only undefeated team left in baseball. Well, and I know it's only 5 games in.
Yeah, no,
but
it's
still,
worth it. Oh, by the way, do we salute the University of Connecticut? And also, do we salute the women's champion, which is Louisiana State University, for winning the national championship?
And what was that with
basketball?
Dr. Jill there? She wanted both teams to show at the White House?
Yeah, she wanted both teams in the national women's championship to show up.
Because the trophy for showing up, or what's that?
I don't exactly know. I guess it's it's a tribute to the women.
She wants to give another Woman of the Year award
to
another man.
Do that. That could be. But so college basketball is over, and we're, I guess it's baseball was pretty much. Well, we still have hockey. How are our beloved?
Well, we're in the playoffs. We made the playoffs. We made the playoffs.
Okay, we being the Tampa Bay Lightning.
3 games left. 3 games left.
Is that right?
Yeah, and I think Montreal will be our first.
Well, it'll be interesting then. Yeah. Okay. Let's get to our top 10. We have a good one. Comes from Wallet Hub. We've gone to them before. These are the top 10 unhealthiest cities in the country. They examined the 182 top cities with 43 key metrics, including healthcare, food, fitness, and green space. Okay? That's how they came up with this.
I'm saying right now, I think San Francisco's up there somewhere.
As an unhealthy? Okay, let's find out. Here we go. Number 10. Corpus Christi, Texas. Corpus Christi, Texas is, Corpus Christi is...
even sounds dirty.
Latin. Corpus Christi means body of Christ. Did you know that? That's what it means.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Okay. Number 9. Hey, let's stay in Texas. It must be a dirty state because the 9th is Laredo, Texas. You ever been there?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Texas.
Oh, I didn't tell you where.
When I was there, it was hot and stinky, so I couldn't wait to leave.
Yeah, okay. It can be that way, that's for sure. Number 8. You ever been to Fayetteville, North Carolina?
Really? Come on.
No, I'm not kidding. Fayetteville, North Carolina is not very healthy. I don't know why. I wonder what's wrong with Fayetteville.
I don't know.
Maybe the food isn't so hot. Number 7. And I hate to say this because I used to live there as a little boy. Memphis, Tennessee.
Memphis, really?
Yeah, good old Memphis, right on the Mississippi River there. Number 7. Number 6. And I used to live near this place.
You see a trend?
I do. Maybe it's me. Montgomery, Alabama.
Oh, they're picking on the South here. What's going on?
Very good. And you know something about Montgomery? They're last in green space. And I believe that. I went to Montgomery and worked there for a while. I lived outside. I lived in Auburn for 3 years.
Was everybody living on top of each other?
It's all hot sidewalk and streets and very little green. It's true. There is. There's something about the city itself. It needs a lot more vegetation. I don't know what's going on there. Number 5. And this one surprised me. Augusta, Georgia. That's where they have the Masters golf tournament.
Well, I guess that one piece of land is good. Everything else is crap.
That's exactly it. Number 4. Hey, I used to live near this place too. It's close to Montgomery, Alabama. Columbus, Georgia. It's right on the border of Alabama and Georgia. And it's 4th. Number 3. You're right about the South, Ed. It's all South.
Somebody's got a thing for the South.
Shreveport, Louisiana.
Oh.
Ever been to Louisiana?
New Orleans.
It's kind of a dirty city. Yeah. Okay. Number 2. Gulfport, Mississippi.
Oh.
Don't they gamble there? I think they have a gambling casino there.
Yep.
All right, Ed. What do you think? Just name a state.
Let's go Kentucky.
That's a good guess, but it's not.
Kentucky.
No, we're back to Texas. Brownsville, Texas. The southernmost tip of Texas. Last in food, last in fitness, and first in the hearts of your countrymen.
Right close to Mexico.
There you go. All right, my friends, thank you so very much for being with us. We will be back on Friday. In the meantime, please remember, freedom works.
together tonight. I got some money in my jeans and I'm really gonna spend it real right.
WTAN, Clearwater.
FM 106.1.
WDCF, Dade City.
FM 102.3.
WZHR, Zephyrhills.
FM 104.3.
Listen.
And a happy Wednesday, Tan Talk listeners. Here's a look at your Bay Area forecast. It's going to be a hot one today. We have a high this afternoon of 88. Could reach into the 90s on some of our inland counties. Overnight low tonight, 70. Tomorrow's high, a bit cooler at 86 degrees. No rain in sight now. Looks till at least Tuesday. Sunset this evening is at 7:51. Now, here's the latest of CBS News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Steel.
I'm Steve Kathan. Former President Trump testing the judge who heard the not guilty plea at his arraignment yesterday and targeting his family.
I have a Trump-hating judge with a Trump-hating wife and family whose daughter worked for Kamala Harris.
Trump was warned against making inflammatory comments. Correspondent John Dickerson spoke with Trump attorney Joe Tacopina on CBS Mornings.
Statement of fact. A statement of fact based on the Daily Mail's reporting and others reporting that the judge's family members work for Kamala Harris.
But it's a fact that it's a Trump-hating judge?
It's a fact. It's an opinion of someone who's been put through a political persecution, John. It's not a fact. It's an opinion of someone who has the right to feel aggrieved.
A federal court has ordered Stormy Daniels, a key figure in the hush money case, to pay an additional $122,000 for Trump legal fees in her failed defamation suit against him. Political shift in North Carolina. Republicans now have enough votes to override vetoes from the Democratic governor, now that Representative Tricia Cotham has joined the GOP.
The party that best represents me and my principles and what's best for North Carolina is the Republican Party.
Rough weather's in the forecast today for parts of the nation's midsection. CBS News meteorologist David Parkinson.
A new tornado watch in effect until 4 p.m. For portions of Indiana and Michigan. That is the area we are watching for potential tornadoes, including in Detroit, Indianapolis, and then eventually the storm will continue to push east into portions of Ohio. So you could be seeing that tornado threat in a place like Toledo or Cleveland.
Overseas, CBS's Charlie D'Agata has more on violence at one of the holiest spots in the Middle East.
Cell phone footage appears to show Israeli riot police pummeling worshipers with batons, firing stun grenades and rubber bullets after storming the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Israeli police say they launched the pre-dawn raid after what they called agitators barricaded themselves inside. They attacked us in there, one worshiper shouts. All the young people inside are suffering and no one is helping them.
Well, CBS's Nicole Killian with more on House Speaker McCarthy's meeting today with Taiwan's president in California.
This is about continuing to express solidarity and support with Taiwan, and so certainly a number of topics.
This is Downtown Dade. How would you like to be able to promote yourself, your business, or someone else's business for less than the cost of one 60-second commercial on many Tampa Bay radio stations? Here's the deal. You can have your own 1-hour radio program on the Tan Talk Network for less than the cost of one 60-second announcement on many Tampa Bay stations. Your program will be on 2 Tampa Bay radio stations and will cover 4 million people in Florida, plus worldwide on the internet in both audio and video. And you'll have a web link for your business on the Tan Talk 1340 website. We provide the producer, the state-of-the-art equipment, free production of commercials, and much more. Check it out today. Call Lola O'Brien, the Irish Hawaiian, at 727-510-7622. That's 510-7622. Call Lola O'Brien now, 727-510-7622. Call now and your 1-hour radio program can start tomorrow. Call 510-7622 for Lola O'Brien, the Irish Hawaiian, at the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Tee off with On the Tee Florida, Saturdays from 11 to 12 on the Tampa St. Pete Sports Connection Radio Network. From PGA coverage to putt-putt prowess, On the Tee Florida is a PGA fan and a heck's perfect round of informative, humorous conversation and coverage. Every Saturday, talking golf in Tampa Bay and across the USA. Hit 'em straight with On the Tee Florida, brought to you by Coors Light, Saturdays from 11 to 12.
Show me the money.
It's the Employment Opportunity Hour with Gene High every Thursday night from 7 until 8.
So the purpose of the show is to help you out there to find something that you enjoy doing instead of a job. And at the start of the show, I normally give out a formula, which I know will guarantee you to find the type of job that you want right now.
Find out the formula to an enjoyable job with Gene Hodges' Employment Opportunity Hour every Thursday night from 7 until 8 here on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Show me the money.
WTAN is the home of the Bitcoin radio show. Heard each Saturday. Join Professor Robert Thomas and crypto coach Robert R. to learn the basics about buying, spending, and growing wealth with cryptocurrency. We all know that cryptocurrency is the future, and the future is happening now. So join Professor Robert Thomas and Michael R. this Saturday on WTAN and the rest of the Tan Talk Radio Network and make your future better than today. The Bitcoin Radio Show, Saturdays from 8 to 9 a.m.
Thinking about starting your own business? Then you need to listen to the Entrepreneur Opportunity Hour every Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. There's nothing more rewarding than starting your own business. Gene and Mr. Dukes will bring you tips and advice from themselves and other entrepreneurs that will help you get started. Have you already started your own business? Then call in and share your story to help other entrepreneurs. That's the Entrepreneur Opportunity Hour every Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
The melodies you love with the lyrics that have personal meaning. You've come home to an old friend, the music of your life, on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
The music of your life presents a classic moment with Peter Marshall.
Rosemary, you're swimming at the beach. Good. A shark is coming towards you. Now, according to the survival book, you should put your head under the water and do something. What?
Kiss yourself goodbye.
You're listening to Peter Marshall on Someplace Special, the music of your life.
If you should decide to seek your special dream, your heart's desire, nothing you can ever do will bring more joy to you. And if you're wise, you'll recognize your guiding theme, your heart's desire. Follow that and you may make your dearest dream come true. But if you seek your heart's desire, your heart may break. That's the risk your dreams require. The chance you take, the choice you make, and soon enough, the seasons start to slip away. So seize the day, and if the fates are kind, then you will find your heart's desire. But if you seek your heart's desire, your heart may break. And that's the risk your dreams require. The chance you take, the choice you make. And soon enough, The seasons start to slip away, so seize the day. Dream your dream and make it grow. You're luckier than most, you know. Lucky to be living for your heart's desire.
Summer, you old Indian summer, you're the tear that comes after June time's laughter. You see so many dreams that don't come true. Dreams we fashioned when summer time was new. You are here to watch over some heart that is broken by a word that somebody left unspoken. You're the ghost of a romance in June, going astray, fading too soon. That's why I say farewell to you, Indian summer.
Well, there you have Jack Leonard with the Dorsey Band here at the Music of Your Life, Indian Summer, Tierney Sutton, Heart's Desire, Al Hardy playing all your favorites for another hour on the Music of Your Life, musicofyourlife.com. Well, here's the fine sounds now of Dina Martin on An Evening in Roma.
Come bella c'è la luna, brilla strette, strette come tutto belle passio già sotto il cielo di Roma. Down each avenue or via, street or strata, you can see them disappearing two by two. On an evening in Roma, do they take them for espresso? Yeah, I guess so. On each lover's arms a boy I wish I knew. On an evening in Roma, though there's grinning and mandolining in sunny Italy, the beginning has just begun when the sun goes down. So please meet me in the plaza near your casa. I am only one and one is much too few. On an evening in Roma, don't know what the country's coming to. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. Will you? On an evening in Roma. Come bella c'è la luna, brilla strette, strette come tutto belle passi già. Sotto il cielo di Roma, don't know what the country's coming to. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. Will you? On an evening in Roma, sotto il cielo di Roma, on an evening in Roma.
I'm gonna love you like nobody's loved you. Come rain or come shine. High as a mountain, deep as a river. Come rain or come shine. I guess when you met me, it was just one of those things. But don't ever bet me, 'cause I'm gonna be true if you let me. And you're gonna love me like nobody's loved me. Come rain or come shine, we'll be happy together, unhappy together. Now, won't that be fine? The days may be cloudy or sunny, we're in or we're out of the money, but I'm with you always. I'm with you rain or shine. I'm with you always. I'm with you rain or shine. You're gonna love me like nobody's loved me. Come rain or come shine. Happy together, unhappy together. Yeah, won't that be fine? The days may be cloudy or sunny. We're in or we're out of the money. But I'm with you always. I'm with you, rain or shine. But I'm with you always. I'm with you, rain or shine.
Willie Nelson on the music of your life, come rain or come shine. Oh, Willie can sing just about anything, can't he? And we heard Dina Martin in there on An Evening in Roma.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association. In partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Day after day, alone on a hill, the man with the foolish grin is keeping perfectly still. But nobody wants to know him. They can see that he's just a fool, and he never gives an answer. But the fool on the hill sees the sun going down, and the eyes in his head see the world spinning round. Well on his way, his head in a cloud, the man of 1,000 voices talking perfectly loud. But nobody ever hears him on the sounds he appears to make, and he never seems to notice. But the fool on the hill sees the sun going down, and the eyes in his head see the world spinning round.
Do you remember when music was really music? Well, we've really got it. Be someplace special with the music of your life on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
You see, this guy's in love with you. Yes, I'm in love. Who looks at you the way I do? When you smile, I can tell we know each other very well. How can I show you? I'm glad I got to know you, 'cause I've heard some talk. They say you think I'm fine. Yes, I'm in love. And what I do to make you mine? Tell me now.